Good evening. Just going to break down something real quick here. Just a thought about society, where we're going. I'm watching the impeachments, and I've been watching politics fairly closely for, I don't know, 17 years now. 46 years old. Got turned on when I was in, my early 30s. Yeah, so it's just a big shit show, the politics. So long as we still have poverty and war, and we haven't really figured out what the deal is with power versus the environment, it's just a shit show. So here's my thing about war, poverty, and the environment, or the future power, as I put it. Everything travels in threes, so these are the three things I'm coming at you. There are three things that we need to do as a society. One is to end national wars and all other sorts of wars. And the second one is end poverty and the attached crises. All the things that go with poverty, whether it be starvation or unemployment, or there's different levels of poverty too. You look at poverty in some of the regions of Eastern Europe that have had all these war-torn areas. That's horrible. Poverty in cities in America is horrible as well. But sometimes you got to balance it. But honestly, all of it's bad. Currently, I live near Newark, New Jersey, and they're dealing with a water crisis, and their water's just as bad as Newark's. So anyway. And we also then, the third one is to harness the new level of electromechanical power. However, just make a clear note, these three things all rest below the primary repair of society, which is to improve the monetary policy. So long as we have a bullshit money system, we're never going to be able to really achieve all these things that we're looking for. Anyway, here's how we end wars. It's just straightforward. You'll never end violence. Just isn't going to happen, but you can end wars. No human being shall be compelled through the threat of force to contribute to any war they do not wish to support. You don't pay your taxes, the sheriff comes and arrests you. You don't like the fact that he's coming to arrest you, then he may gun you down. It's just how the system works. You can say I'm making a big deal out of it, but it's how our system works. Every human shall ultimately be responsible for their own safety and may choose to maintain that safety in any way they see fit. If you want to defend yourself against an attack by another person, then you have the right to do that, however you see fit, and using whatever methods. Obviously, that creates huge arguments and huge complicated scenarios, about, were you really being threatened or not? But it's a whole other story. You can't take the right away from someone to defend themselves. No human shall transgress another's wishes. However, if such transgression is committed, they shall seek forgiveness. The basic thing is you bump into someone in the street and you're like, sorry, pardon me, and you go on. But if you don't, then you've just transgressed another human, and, that sucks. Any so-called leader who wishes to initiate attacks for every person in a given geographical region to support a war, they shall no longer be considered a leader, at least not by anyone who understands how society should be going at this point. And then the value saved through the ending of military violence shall be returned to the society as it was collected. Now, that's kind of poppycock. It's kind of, nonsense, because that value doesn't really have anything. I know that didn't really clearly, fully explain how wars would end. The bottom line is you can't elect people. You can't give people the power to send military to other countries where you don't personally, I don't know anything about a Syrian. I may have met a few Syrians, I'm sure I have. But you can't do that. You just can't send people. You can't tell me I have to support your war. That is completely out of line. You want to create a little group of people who like to contribute to the war machine, go right ahead. Just don't come knocking on my door. Either way. So you can't do it. Anyway, so now that we've ended wars, let's end poverty. A thriving community being necessary to the wealth of all humans. The right of people to work shall not be infringed. A thriving community, being necessary to the wealth of all humans, the right of the people to work shall not be infringed. That means to say, if you want your community to be good and plentiful and bountiful and well fed and earning a living, which is necessary for the wealth of all humans, I want everyone to be wealthy. I want everyone to have a nice, big, strong house. We have the ability to do that. We can create this. Okay? In order, the thriving community, which is necessary for the wealth of all humans, the right of the people to work shall not be infringed. That means that if you want to work and you find another citizen who's willing to reward you for that work, whether it be with money or barter of some sort, whatever the case may be, that shall not be infringed. So if you're doing your work stuff and somebody from the government comes and says, blah, 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 permits and blah, blah, that's an infringement upon your right to work. I get it. Totally get it. But as an individual who's working for themselves, it's pretty freaking important. Alright? Yeah. I know Henry Miller. If any human wishes to exchange their labor for money or other equal good or service, then they shall be able to do this without any resistance. In those areas where significant economic depression is present, those who live there are free to open any business they wish, without resistance of fees and taxes. Now, this is already said in the first 2 points, but it's important to just emphasize, like, we're ending poverty. Okay, I live in an affluent area of New Jersey. My town made like the top 100 wealthiest towns in America or something. I don't know what the hell. Our average family income in this town is $200,000. That's the average. Okay, we're below that, like our family. But I know for a fact that there are families here who are well above it. And I like to say that I live in the slums of this town, so it's kind of funny. But in these economically depressed areas, this really has to happen like tomorrow. If any so-called leader, back to the top, shall compel a person to seek permission to run their business with the threat of violence, they shall no longer be considered a leader. Okay? So if I open up a business and somebody from the town comes and says, where are your business permits? And I say, I do not have business permits. And then they say, well, we're going to shut you down. You say, I do not want to be shut down. Well, you need business permits. I do not have business permits. You're welcome to hand me a business permit if you like, but I'm not going to pay any fee or any tax in order to get said permit. I'm not going to do it. If that leader, that community then sends like the police or the sheriff to shut them down, or send some other branch of the city, depending on the size of the city, to shut them down, that's threat of violence. Those workers arrive with guns on their hips. And when a man walks into your place of business with a gun on his hip, you're just like, I gotta do what this guy wants, or he's gonna come at me. He's got a stick, he's got, a radio to call more of his friends. That's when you just be like, hey, this is it. It's either now or not. Anyway, and that's not my speed, believe me. But you can't send that person. You can't create the threat of violence and expect your community to be strong. If you have wild dogs roaming the street, your community will not be safe. If you have a wild police force, your community is not safe. Okay? Any human who wishes to exchange their goods or labor may make these exchanges in any currency they wish, including alternative currencies if they so wish. It's out of control. Sorry, I'm going on a sidebar here because I've been there already. But it is out of control how violent our society is. And we accept and expect violence at every level. I can't deal with it anymore.